In May 2019, Christopher McNabb was found guilty of several severe crimes related to the death of his daughter, Kaylee McNabb. These crimes included inflicting fatal injuries on Kaylee and attempting to cover up the incident. Kaylee's mother, Courtney Bell, was also found guilty of involvement in her daughter's death, along with other related charges.
Y'all know I didn't do this.
In 2017, Kalia McNabb was found dead near the trailer where her parents, Belle and Chris McNabb, lived. She disappeared the day after they woke up and couldn't find her.
When he went, I seen him back there to check on her while I was loving on her because she was freaking out. I didn't understand why she was freaking out. She was standing right here.
Searchers discovered Kalia's body the next day, hidden under a log in the nearby woods and wrapped in a blue cloth. Evidence showed that Belle had gone to bed that night, checked on Kalia early the next morning, and then went back to sleep for 4.5 hours. During this time, McNabb inflicted fatal injuries on Kalia, which the state concluded was the primary cause of her death.
I just don't understand how you find somebody guilty of doing something to a 15-day-old baby, because there was no evidence whatsoever that proved anything about me putting my hands on my kids.
At the time of the incident, McNabb and his partner, Courtney Marie Bell, were using crystal meth.
And you chose methamphetamine and McNabb over a baby.
It's a sickness, but I tried to be a good mama.
An autopsy revealed that the baby died from severe head injuries caused by blunt force trauma.
You created an environment that caused your children to be put second.
Following the trial, McNabb was sentenced to life without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 10 years. During the proceedings, Judge John M. Ott asked McNabb what sentence he would impose if he were innocent and someone else was guilty. McNabb responded that he would give the maximum sentence, so Judge Ott did exactly that. Now, brace yourself for the chilling case of Stephen Lorenzo, a man whose heinous crimes of drugging and torturing men will leave you shocked. In December 2003, Jason Galehouse was a 26-year-old working at a flower shop and studying interior design at Hillsborough Community College. Having recently moved from Sarasota to Tampa, he seemed to have a bright future ahead. On the night of December 20th, 2003, Galehouse went to a club with his roommate around 2:45 a.m. He mentioned leaving with two men he had just met. His roommate, who claimed he didn't see the two men, never heard from Galehouse again. The next night, Michael Wachholtz also went missing. He was last seen at his apartment in Tampa, not far from the nightclub where Galehouse disappeared.
Prosecutors say Lorenzo, along with his co-defendant Scott Swikard, lured the victims to Lorenzo's Seminole Heights home.
Wachholtz was another victim of Lorenzo. Though Galehouse and Wachholtz didn't know each other, they used the same online dating and chat service. On January 6, 2004, Wachholtz's body was found wrapped in a sheet in the back of his 1992 Jeep Cherokee in a parking lot in Town & Country. Galehouse's body was never found.
All the facts taken together make it one of the most horrible cases I've ever dealt with.
An affidavit stated that Lorenzo administered drugs to, abused, and caused the deaths of Galehouse and Wachholtz. In November 2005, a jury found Lorenzo guilty of secretly drugging 9 men with GHB and torturing them at his house.
The details of these crimes were very difficult to listen to in court today. The torture, dismemberments, but they must have been just unbearable.
The 7 survivors testified that they met Lorenzo at bars, couldn't remember what happened after drinking with him, or passed out after he gave them drinks.
They just identified the person that attacked and sexually assaulted you in February of 2000.
Yes.
Lorenzo received a 200-year federal prison sentence, but he wasn't initially charged with murder. Scott Schweikart, an accomplice, received 40 years in prison for his role in the crimes. Despite investigators linking Schweikart and Lorenzo to the deaths of Galehouse and Wachholtz, murder charges were not filed immediately. However, in 2012, prosecutors asserted that the men had drugged, tortured, killed, and disposed of the bodies of Galehouse and Wachholtz.
Schweikert is already serving 40 years in federal prison for drugging the men with the date drug. Now he will spend life in prison.
In June 2016, Schweikert made a plea deal, admitted his guilt, received a life sentence, and agreed to testify against Lorenzo. The story took a surprising turn 6 years later, almost 20 years after the murders. Lorenzo confessed in court to killing Gale House and Wachholtz and requested the death penalty.
The defendant says they killed them, cut them up with an electric saw in a garage, then scattered body parts here and there in Tampa trash bins.
Before moving to the next case, let's subscribe to the channel for more updates. Have you ever heard about a Black Hood? Well, here he is. Joseph Wood was found guilty of murdering his estranged girlfriend, Deborah Dietz, and her father, Eugene Dietz, on August 7, 1989, by shooting them. He was convicted of 2 charges of first-degree murder and 2 charges of aggravated assault on a police officer. For each murder, he was given a death sentence, along with 15-year prison terms for the aggravated assault charges to be served concurrently. Wood was very upset because his girlfriend, Deborah, ended their relationship. He started following and threatening her. One day, he went to the car repair shop in Tucson where Deborah and her family worked. Wood went straight to Deborah's father, Eugene, and shot and killed him. Eugene's older brother tried to stop Wood, but Wood fought him off. Deborah tried to run away, but Wood caught up to her and shot her while her sister and brother-in-law watched. When the police arrived, there was a violent confrontation. Wood was injured, but was eventually captured. Wood was sentenced to death by lethal injection. These injections included a sedative and a painkiller. Normally, just 1 dose of each should have been enough.
Okay, so all the rest of these are just in case something else happens.
However, with Wood, they had to administer 15 doses. He continued to breathe erratically for over an hour. An observer said it looked like a fish trying to breathe out of water.
Governor.
A reporter noted that Wood took more than 600 breaths.
I counted about 660 times. He sort of gasped, kind of looked like as if he was trying to breathe or catch air.
Experts stated that the execution should have taken about 10 minutes. Wood's lawyers asked the Supreme Court to halt the execution because it was taking too long and Wood appeared to be suffering. They argued that he had been struggling to breathe for over an hour. However, Justice Anthony Kennedy denied their request, and Wood died about half an hour later.
He was snorting and gasping for air for more than an hour, and he was sedated around 1:52 p.m. and was pronounced dead at 3:49 p.m.
After Wood was executed, Deborah Dietz's sister spoke to the Associated Press, saying that watching him die could not compare to what he did to her family in 1989.
Everybody's more worried about, did he suffer? Who really suffered was my dad and my sister when they were killed.
She vividly remembered the horrific sight of her father and sister covered in blood after Wood murdered them. Before the execution, when a reporter asked Wood about the death sentence, he expressed an acceptance of it. When asked if he deserved the death sentence, he responded that if the victim's family believed he killed their loved ones, they should have the opportunity to kill him as well. His belief in an eye for an eye was surprising, yet clear, and he accepted the death penalty.